Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. I wasn't punched in the face by a horse. I was punched in the face by a dog.
That's the first thing I said to you when I saw you. It's like, who punched you? By the way, guys, if you cannot tell, I am here in Georgia. I did go to the game today, so we're going to go over a little bit about the game and everything that happened here and the experience, so to speak, here. But I also want to let you guys know, obviously, I have my my backup stuff here going on here. Actually, I should brought my real stuff, I should say. But it's all set up here at the cabin that I usually stay at when I come here to record with you guys a couple times. So if it doesn't sound right, just give me a heads up, guys, in the comment section there, because I know it's happened before. A little setting here, a little setting there. But let's get right into it, guys, with the fact that the Giants point blank got absolutely spanked again, and not in the fun way. Yes, exactly. Not in the fun way at all. So, you know, Giants, you go into the Falcons game, and listen, guys, I don't think any of us intended to win. I don't think any of us wanted to win. Let's be honest here, either of that. We're being frank. But, you know, 34-7, guys. 34-7 on a team that was previously rated 500. That's not good. You know, that's just not good at all. You expect to have some semblance of respectability against when you're facing a team that's not elite by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, they were going on a bad streak so bad they benched their $100 and whatever $million quarterback he was.
$140 million.
Whatever he was. They lose a lot of money. It wasn't quite DJ money, but it was close.
Close to it. They guaranteed a lot more money.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, really, really embarrassing game overall for us Giant fans. I can tell you this: if you guys were watching the game at home, if you happen to hear somebody loudly yelling throughout the game, especially on first downs, fire Dable, fire Joe Shane.
It was true.
That was yours truly. I was literally yelling it from the very top. Listen, I don't front. Like, I don't try to say I got VIP seats or anything like that. Listen, I'm poor folk. Like
he was yelling from the 220 stands.
Yeah. I was in the 300s, like literally. Those who can see, I think it's a little coming through quite right there on the phone there, but that's where my seat was. It was literally the 300. I had the first row of the 300s. I mean, I could have gone down to 200s, but it's like, why not get the first row of 300s? It's a better view. You have nobody in front of you whatsoever. There's no obstruction whatsoever. And I'll tell you this: you got to give it up to Giants fans. There was as many Giants fans as there was Falcon fans at this game. If the Giants had been a good team, this would have been another home game, basically, which, you know, being how our home games have gone this season may not be a good thing. But I'm just saying, like, I think I got to give kudos to some Giants fans, really, for showing up. And I know it's a tough thing to do. Listen, I did it, you know, but I did it partially because, to be very frank, we have this podcast. And I wanted to get out and talk to fans and, you know, market us a little bit at the game here, which I did. So if anybody here is from the game and a first-time listener or a watcher, hello. Good to see you again. But yeah, like I said, it was I literally handed out 500 business cards to various people that I talked to or saw quickly at the stadium. You know, it was nice to see so many Giants fans there. But I give people kudos who go to the game because, again, I'll be very frank with you guys. If it was not for this podcast, I would not have come to the game. I did not buy my tickets early on in the year like I initially thought I was going to do because, like most people, we procrastinate to the last minute to do things. You know, it's just life sometimes. There's two people that do things very early and people that do things very late. I definitely fall in the latter category. But
in your life.
And you too, so stop. What time we start today? 7:30, I believe it was supposed to be.
Wait. An hour from now? What?
7:30. We're not in a time zone. But you know, there was, like I said, a lot of Giants fans there. It was nice to see the community of fans come out and support the people in the team that do deserve it. Not a lot of them necessarily do deserve it. Let's be very frank. The way the team's playing, you know, a lot of the front office doesn't deserve the support. That's for sure. It was nice to see. I know on TV, because obviously I didn't watch the game on TV, so I was at the stadium, but I heard there was a part where they literally showed John Mara after talking about the negative history that the Giants are now staring down the barrel of. And he was like, and then all of a sudden, I guess he saw he was on camera. Starts like throwing his arms up and stuff like that. He's clearly not very happy about it. I'm very glad to know he was at the game, though, because that means John Mara heard me say, fire Dable, fire Joe Shane. Because I was on the Giants side. So he had to have heard, because I'm loud. Like, I don't even front. I'm loud. Like, I had Falcons fans cracking up because literally every single first down, that's what I was doing, was yelling that to fire both of them. And I mean it. And listen, the only way change is going to happen is if we force it. We've learned that over and over again as Giants fans. The Giants do not do the right thing because it's the right thing. They do the right thing because it affects their pocket and their reputation. Point blank. And also when Steve Tisch and his family get involved. For some reason, they seem to be the people that come in last minute and say, that's stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they come in soon and have some comments to say on the Giants here. So because this is literally the worst stretch. This is not an exaggeration any longer. The worst stretch the Giants have ever had in their entire time playing football. Like, this is the
Kudos to 100 years.
Yeah.
100 years of playing like crap.
With it's somehow a 17-game season.
Yeah.
It feels like it. It feels like it, guys. Let's go over a couple topics here from the game. So, first off, I called this game going into it the what could have been, because Michael Penix, who y'all know who watch the show on a regular basis, know that I had a little bit of a man crush on during this draft. I was a very big Penix fan. Hey, you were a fan of him too. I'm just saying. I was the more loud about it, to the point where even I remember Deb one day saying, "Up about Penix" in the comment section. But it's just I liked him a lot. I liked him a lot the way he came out of college. I thought he had a lot of experience. He had a lot of calmness to him. He had a lot of receivers got success with him, and hell, the guy almost had a friggin' Heisman Trophy season in Indiana. Like, let's be honest, that school is mostly known for a basketball coach that threw chairs.
Yeah,
that's what it's known for. So it's quite the accomplishment we do at that kind of school. So he came in today, very first start. Before we even get into what he did, I should start with this, actually. Let's give some kudos to Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins comes into this game, gets benched, first year in Atlanta. Like, I don't care who you are, you got to understand that is not what he intended to happen this year. Like, that's a pretty common sense. This was not the plan for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Comes in, gets benched. They showed it afterwards. You didn't see it if you were at the game, but I don't know if they showed it on the televised, cast of it there. But
Nope.
Kirk Cousins literally was sitting at the tunnel right before they came out and had a prayer, regardless of what your religious beliefs are. Obviously, him and Penix share some kind of religious beliefs. I'll put it that way. I don't know. I don't pretend to know their exact denominations, nor do I care, to be quite frankly. But the two of them did a prayer together. And then Cousins did a pep talk with him. That's a man. Right there. Point blank.
This man.
That is an adult right there in the room. Guys, we've been missing adults in the room. I'm not saying Cousins is the answer long-term or even short-term, but maybe not a bad bridge. Maybe not a bad bridge. Just saying. But like I said, I want to give the kudos to him while we're talking about Penix as well, because it is a big move. That's really a classy move that I'd love to say if I was in his shoes I would do. I don't know if I could. Human emotion gets to you guys. People can always say that I would do this in this scenario. You have no goddamn clue until you actually are in that scenario. You have no goddamn clue. Anyway, Michael Penix in the day, 18 of 27, 202 yards, no touchdowns. Did have one interception that I will call BS on. That was not an interception. It was technically, by definition, one, but it's like it bounced off the receiver and he kind of threw it to Cordell Flott.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to count that. In the books, it goes as an interception, but I'm not going to count that as an interception on him. That's not fair. And I think it's not a bad start for him. It's hard to gauge him against such a bad team. To be honest, we have a history of making teams look pretty damn good, but he threw 2/3 completion, over 200 yards. And if you take away the BS interception, he didn't make any big mistakes. And that was the issue they had with Cousins for the last couple of games. He was making mistakes. So, is it just an interesting facet of the game I wanted to kind of get out there real quick because of the fact that obviously we're going to talk mostly about the Giants, but it's a potential big day for, the Falcons in the NFL landscape, depending on what happens for the rest of the career for Michael Penix Jr. there. So, let's talk about our quarterback, though.
Oh,
Drew Lock to be gone at the end of the year. That's what he is. Woo. It's getting bad, guys. And I don't even get it.
Real bad.
I'm trying to
Real
be
bad
about this. He was 22 of 39, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And not only were they interceptions,
bad
interceptions, pick
sixes.
Yeah. The first one was real bad. I can tell you that right now. The first one was really bad. And the nice thing about being somebody like me who got the cheap seats is it's almost like watching the All-22 live. Like, it's like the overhead view.
Yeah.
And, listen, y'all know if you've got the cheap seats before. But this is, you can see that coming a mile away. It was so obvious it's not even funny what was going to happen. The second
his eyes didn't even change. Like when you're looking at the play, you're the Alt-22 paying $105, whatever it was, to be up high. But you watch on TV,
$75.
His eyes did not move. It was like, I think you're open.
Yeah.
Intercepted.
Locked him down. Not to reuse again another bad
yeah.
Part. He did. The second one I can give him a little, because of the fact that it was a batted ball that got tossed around and Matt Judon just happened to get it and stroll into the end zone. But any day you have 2 pick sixes, you're not doing anybody any favors, especially the defense, who I've seen getting steamrolled on, different podcasts that I was listening to that were live after the game. I'm away back to the cabin that I'm at here. And, it was, like I said, it was a really bad game for him. And, if I wanted us to win, I'd be calling for Tim Boyle to start, which is just insane. I never thought I'd be literally saying Tim Boyle should be our starting quarterback. I never thought those words should come out of my mouth.
Wait, what? Ooh.
Yeah. But let's be honest here, guys. He has played better in that second half that he played than Tommy DeVito has and Drew Lock has. But, guys, we want to lose. So, therefore, keep it going, Drew Lock. I hate that. I hate that I'm down to tanking, but that's what we're down to. Right? I mean, it's just sad.
You have to be. At this point.
What we got? What we got to look forward is the first pick. That's what
yeah.
I was joking around.
Number 1 draft pick.
I was joking around the stands after the first pick because they were all excited. It's good nature. Nobody was a jerk about it, but good nature's, a little ribbing to me there. And they were like, "Oh, look, okay, we got a pick." I'm like, "That's all right. You got a pick, and we got a pick." Everyone gets a pick. We're over.
We all get a pick.
You get it. You get an interception. We get a draft pick. It's all good. Let's talk about the one bit of good news here that we have that we can give you guys on the game. We have good news coming in from thanks to Las Vegas doing their part to help us out. We'll talk about later, but let's talk about let's talk about the one bit of good news we can talk about with the Giants here, and that's Malik Neighbors, who literally broke the Giants' single season record for most receptions by a rookie this season. And it's kind of getting lost in how good he is, considering how bad the Giants are. When Odell was doing his thing.
At least we were 500 plus.
I'm saying it was nonstop. Odell was the biggest thing in New York. Odell was and I get it. Neighbors is not having the same kind of yardage that Odell is having. He doesn't have the highlight reel catches necessarily that Odell had. But he also didn't have Eli Manning. There he is. That's a huge difference right there.
Yeah.
On the day, Malik Neighbors had 7 catches, 68 yards. On the season now, 97 catches, 969 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So the previous record was 91. That was by Odell Beckham, along with Saquon Barkley, because Odell got it 14 and Saquon then tied him in 18. Now, Beckham still got the rookie record for receiving yards. That's 1,305 yards. And he needs 168 yards per game to tie that record. So I think it's safe to say that's probably not going to happen.
Probably not.
Probably not going to, no. But again, 969 yards. If he's going to get 100 catches and 1,000 yards in his rookie season, that's a damn good rookie season. Damn good rookie season. I think any of us would have signed up for that, especially when you can throw in the fact that he also missed a couple games.
Yeah, big time. Because he missed 3 games?
I think 2 games, if I remember correctly off the top of my head.
2 or 3.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, it's still impressive that those kind of numbers as a rookie, while still missing games, while still battling injuries, because every single year every single game it feels like he has some kind of injury. So it's impressive. Now, Puka Nacua holds the record for most receptions for a rookie last year at 105. So Neighbors needs just 8 more in his final 2 games to tie that record. So he sits right now 4th in all-time rookie receptions behind Anquan Bolden, Jalen Waddle, and Puka Nacua. Now, I do have to look up. If you want to look this up here real quick while I give the rest of these stats here. Brock Bowers obviously played after him. If you want to look where he's at now for the year after this game, because that game just ended, obviously. But yeah, he's sitting at 4th before that game. We'll see if Brock Bowers is now ahead of him and he's down to 5th. But that's still, like I said, still damn impressive. Your top 5 in receptions for rookie with a couple games up. As Deb says, we're keeping you up, Rob, because you're yawning. He had a long day. He had a long day.
I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Okay.
But yeah, here's my biggest takeaway, guys, of this whole Malik Neighbors thing. Malik Neighbors, after the game, was asked about his reaction to breaking Odell's record. And the reaction he gave was, kudos to me, but didn't win. I loved that. Seriously. Out of all the things that he said that have been broken into big stories, I have not heard of that going crazy story. And that should be a big story. Because that's one of the first quotes this kid has given that should have gone on like crazy and gone viral. Because that's the attitude to have, point blank. Because you know what? It's hard to be happy about breaking a team record when your team just broke another record that same game for being the worst team basically to ever play for this organization.
Yeah. Gonna say. You're the best player on the worst team ever. How does that feel?
That's where you're at. Like and like I said, it's hard to get that. Do you got the stats?
Yeah, so Brock Bowers, 11 receptions, 99 yards.
Okay.
He averaged 9 yards per catch. His longest catch was 30 yards.
Okay. There we go. So from what I'm seeing, it had him at 90 on Google, but that was what he had before the game, if I remember correctly. So we should be at 101. So yeah. So Neighbors is now in 5th place. And that also puts him just a few catches away from breaking Puka Nacua's record. Just last year's record. That could be number 3 in the NFL.
Yeah.
3 by the end of this season. Ow, he's acting up going out of state. But yeah, that's pretty crazy that you'll have 3 at the top 5 receiving records literally being in 2 years. That's insane, guys.
Crazy.
Absolutely
Nuts.
insane. And then you throw in the fact that Jalen Waddle was just a couple years ago. Like, he's still a youngish player.
Wow.
Alrighty. Let's talk about the scapegoat in this game here. Once we're done paying the bills. Oh, yes, Rob, we're going to pay the bills. And then
yes!
we got a couple more topics to go over, guys, and then we're gonna get to the comments there. I see a couple people in there that I saw at the game as well, guys. Keep the comments coming. We're gonna go through all the comments when we're done here with this couple of topics, while we also get Rob a cup of coffee because the Giants have literally bored him into sleep. Apparently, that's what's happening here.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, come back. Did we lose you, Rob? Are you there? I think we lost Rob temporarily there. But yeah, guys, let's get into the next topic here. We're waiting for Rob here. So let's talk about the defense, because that's the biggest issue that I think we really need to talk about here, because I feel like this group as a whole is getting a lot of slack when, quite frankly, they shouldn't be. Shouldn't be getting the slack they're getting. So you go and get a team right now that you look at on paper, you get, okay, the Giants got crushed in this game. Again, 34 points. But you got to remember the 2 pick sixes. You got to remember the fumble that happened this game as well. This defense was not put in a very good situation on multiple occasions. So 20 points is what this defense gave up, guys. I don't understand the hate on this defense whatsoever. I really don't. Keep in mind what this defense is missing, guys, too. This defense is missing Dexter Lawrence, the best player, not just on defense, but probably the best player on this team, the best nose tackle in all of goddamn football. It's missing Bobby Okereke, who was close to being a Pro Bowler last season. It's missing Tyler Nubin, who had a great rookie year at safety. Azeez Ojulari, our third pass rusher, whatever you want to call him at that point. DJ Davidson, who went out there. Trey Hawkins. I mean, I can go on and on. All these players that, if not stars, let's be honest, we don't have a lot of stars on this team as a whole, but guys that are ones that have a prominent role in this defense. Whether depth pieces that do go out on the field for different, formations, or guys that literally, are like Dexter Lawrence out there probably too often, to be very frank. And they still gave up 20 points. 20 points. That's it. That's nothing. That's not that bad. And again, they were put into so many bad situations. At what point do we go, you know what? This is a scenario you can't put on the defense, because they're doing their job. And I hear some other content creators going on blast in the defense. Oh, they gave up 34. They didn't give up 34 points. They gave up 20, which is not nothing. I'm not saying it was a great defensive, shoving at that point. But let's not blame the side that gave up 20 points. Let's blame the side that only scored 7 and gave up 14. Our defense, our offense was literally a negative in this game. Like, that's bad. When your offense gives up more points than it scores, that's a goddamn problem.
Big problem.
So for anybody blasting the defense today, I'm sorry, but that's a load of horse crap. Absolute crap. Leave my defense alone. So, all righty. Let's go ahead and go over with you guys some of the stats of what they did here on defense. So Penix, we talked about him already here. Barely over 200 yards, no touchdowns. Bijan Robinson, 94 rushing yards, had a 22 carries, so 4.3 yards per carry average. He did get 2 touchdowns, but that is something that, let's be honest, has been a problem with us all year long, guys. We have been having issues stopping the run. And here we are now with a decent running back. Yeah, I wouldn't say that Robinson is like an elite running back, but he's a good running back in this league.
Yeah.
But, that's what you got now, is you got a defense that was stopping him and stopping him from, taking over this game, basically. On the receiving end there, Darnell Mooney was the only guy to have over 60 yards. Had 82 on the game. Drake London was the only other one to have over 20 yards. He had 59. I'm waiting to hear where the defense is the problem, guys. Like, if somebody wants to let me know why they think the defense is the issue, I'd love to hear it, guys. Because I keep on hearing this over and over again. And it's the offense. The offense literally gave up more points than they scored. That's an issue.
This is a big issue.
I'm losing my phone here, so I use my phone as my second screen since I don't have my usual setup. Like I said, am I right, Rob? Am I crazy? Like, talk to me, dude. Like,
no, it's absurd. Like, listen, at the end of the day, it's crazy talk. Like, how are we talking about, like, we're okay with our defense, like, just lit up crazy amount of points, and then blaming the defense about the points put on the board?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
None. And you know, Pat Leonard, who was the guy who, let's be honest, a lot of Giants fans didn't like, but I think he's becoming more likable. People have realized he's a little more right than people want to admit because he's been the harshest on this organization for the last couple of years. He went off on the defense. Oh, we need a Wink Martindale back, and this defense doesn't know what they're doing. What?
Yeah. What?
Again, I'm not saying they had a stellar day, but they were not the problem. They were not the problem at all.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, let's talk about the Giants making history. I mentioned earlier, this is literally the worst team in Giants history. The worst. We can officially say that, I think, because the Giants broke the record today. 10 consecutive losses. The longest streak in Giants history, guys. 10 consecutive losses. Think about this. We were 2-13. I'm sorry, 2-3 just a couple months ago. Now we're 2-13. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad. Yeah. This is just like I said, I just don't know how else to tell you guys how bad this team is. And I feel like we're a broken record. I kind of feel bad for you guys. I love you guys coming in and listening and watching and participating in the show here. And we don't want to be that podcast that continues to go off about the same things over and over again, but it's hard not to harp on the fact that we're just bad. Like, this isn't like one or two moves to fix this, even though, let's be honest, the two big moves are Shane and Dable. I'm sorry. I'm still saying it. But, yeah. Absolutely bad, guys. Absolutely bad.
Yeah, it also, like, from week to week, like, how are we supposed to, like, tell you, like, oh, we're a bad team.
Yeah.
And then next week, we're a better team.
Yep.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, guys. Let's talk about the experience today. I know I saw a couple of y'all in the chat that I met at the game. I saw Brian there specifically commenting. Appreciate seeing you at the game, so appreciate you as well, man. This was a stadium that I had never been to, and I wanted to see what they were and what's going on, and what the stadium was like. Because one of the biggest complaints that Giants fans all have, let's be honest, it's our stadium. You know, I kind of refer to it as the Vanilla Bowl. Like, there's nothing special to it whatsoever. It's as bland as can be. Like, it's not a bad, horrible stadium. Like, it's round. It has a field. There's no bad spots, really. Like, it's not like you get horrible views anywhere. But there's nothing special to it. There's nothing that makes you go, this is MetLife Stadium. I still want to call it Giant Stadium. This is MetLife Stadium because of blank. You know. And the old one wasn't that bad either. You know, like, it wasn't that crazy either. But the one thing I remember is the spirals all around the corners at that point, you know. But this wasn't that bad of a stadium. And now you go into this vanilla dome that has nothing special to it, nothing whatsoever. And then as a Giant fan, to go to this kind of stadium that they have at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Oh.
You're right there.
Oh, excuse-moi.
But, I go to a stadium like that, and I go, this is what the Giants should have done. This is what the Giants should have looked at doing in this whole entire stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. You go to the outside of it, it's got all kinds of spots everywhere. That you can see like architecture, different look to it. You go inside, there's glass everywhere, letting natural light come in. It's a beautiful setup like that. There's food places and drink places everywhere that are selling things at a good price, guys. Guess what a bottle of water costs? $3. $3.
What?
Bottle of water. That's it.
What?
I got a thing of pulled pork nachos for $9, guys. Now the beers were like $10, $11. Like the beers were still expensive. That's just life at a stadium.
Yeah,
But I look at it like that and I go, okay, the Giants built the most boring stadium they could have built. They jacked up the cost like you wouldn't believe for everything. And then all they did was shove a bunch of people in here and charge us a ton of money for everything with no fan experience whatsoever. Nothing special to the stadium whatsoever. Nothing that you can go, this is my stadium. I love it because of blank. I'm telling you guys, this was a nice damn stadium today. And the Giants missed out. The Giants missed out on what it could have been when they built MetLife Stadium. And I really hope whenever they build the next one, which will probably be a little while, let's be honest.
It's going to be a long while.
10, 20 years at least before you even think about doing it.
Yep.
The next one should not be this boring hunk of crap that we have right now. And I'm calling it like that way, point blank. You keep it up, Rob, you all right?
Oh, my God. You kill me, Drew. Drew, what are you doing?
I've been yawning at so much before in my life. But yeah, I mean, like, this is what it was. This is just, like I said, a beautiful stadium they have here in Atlanta. And I'm telling you, when you go to that stadium and you go to our stadium, it's night and day. And it's a shame that one of the most, prestigious, stadiums in the entire country, teams in the entire country, the Giants, they go ahead and have two teams in the largest market in this country. And this is the crap you give us.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Shame. It's a shame.
Really, really bad, guys. All righty. We have one final last topic we got to talk about here, guys. And it's other good news. And then we'll get to your guys' comments. So keep the comments coming. And this is the fact that the Giants can officially say that the Raiders did their job. The Raiders beat the Jaguars today, guys.
The Raiders.
19-14 they won, guys. This means that the Giants officially are in the number one spot in the NFL draft. Not just that. The Giants control their own destiny. What that means is if we lose out, we are guaranteed that top spot because nobody else has 2 wins. Everybody else has at least 3 wins in the NFL. So, guys, you want Shedeur Sanders, you want Cam Ward, or you want your pick of them? Guess what? You got them as long as we lose.
Yeah.
As long as we, and you know what we're really good at? We're really good at losing, guys. We're really good at losing. Now, you got the Colts next week. So we gotta go ahead and lose to the Colts at home. Let's be honest, we haven't won a home game all year long. We kind of suck at home. It is what it is. I expect us to lose that game entirely.
Yeah.
Then you go into the last game. That's the one that scares me a little bit, guys. So the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Commanders today. So what that means is, my understanding is that the Lions and them, there's a tiebreaker. The Lions have it.
The Lions are winning.
No, but I'm saying, even if hypothetically the Lions lose one of the next 2 games, they still have a tiebreaker with the Eagles. So therefore, the Eagles would have to win both games, and the Lions would have to lose both games for the Eagles to get the number 1 seed. This means now the Eagles have nothing to play for potentially that last week of the season. And we all know what happens when the Eagles play the last week of the season. They have nothing to play for. They did it last time against us. They put in all of their backups.
And we won.
No, we lost that game still, but it was a closer game, if I'm right.
No, we won.
You're talking. I'm talking. The Davis Webb game is the one I'm talking to.
Oh, okay.
The last time we had all the starters last year. I'm talking about the Davis Webb game specifically. Davis Webb's only start he got as a Giant, which was the last week of the season when we rested a lot of our starters, but the Eagles rested all their starters as well. And like I said, I'm hoping the Eagles don't do that again because that'd be very bad for the Giants if we win that game. It'd be very Giant-like, though, to go the whole entire year losing and then go ahead and go last minute win the last game here. Let me see if I can move his laptop a little closer. We can start getting to the comments here. Connor says, hello, it's 7:36 p.m. Where are my two giant goofballs? There was one there. Connor says, well, my bed is big, a king, so it would be roomy if you didn't want to be. Whoa, what's going on here? What is going on, Connor? That man is too lonely, apparently. I don't think we're taking you up on that offer. I think it's safe to say. Deb says, we won. And by, that she says, first pick. And then Connor says, oops, sorry about that. So I think that first message was not meant for us that he put there about that. Now, Connor, we don't like to pry, but we like to pry. Did this person come over and did you put the pillow between you? That's the question we wanted. That's the questions we have here. Off of the race problems up, Eds. It's nice of you to join us from a greenhouse, Drew. We appreciate your dedication. This is not a greenhouse. This is
it looks like a greenhouse. Not gonna lie. It looks like a greenhouse. It does.
It's a lake cabin. So it's like I said, my family's, I'm blessed to have, my family has two different lake cabins on Lake Lanier in Atlanta, in Georgia, just north of Atlanta. So I go here a couple times a year. For those who watch on a regular basis will know I've done shows here before, but yeah, this was a different one because there's no heat in this house. It's a lake house. It's not, you don't go here in the winter usually, but I'm cheap and it's there to freeze. So therefore, here I am. 30-degree weather with no insulation, no heat in the house. Hashtag Florida, man. It was bad, dude. When I left Florida, it was 77 degrees on Thursday. When I got here, it was 32. There's a little
couple miles north.
Yeah, that's a little difference there. So he also says, after the first quarter, looks like we had a chance. Just guessing to show this team has zero fight. Could this be one of, if not the worst NFL offense ever? Yes. Quite frankly, yes. I'd have to look at the exact stats on that, but I've heard crazy stats thrown out, on a weekly basis, like this is the lowest points per game total since blah, blah, blah. I don't like to do that part mid-year. I wait till the season's over. Yeah. And we'll take a look and see where we're at then at that point there. But it's not going to be pretty. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. Connor says, marinate the fire. Everyone stop. Our team is terrible. We need a fresh start. And then Saquon got another 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He would have had more hurts. Didn't get hurt. And the Raiders won. But yeah.
The Raiders.
We're a crap team. It is what it is. Connor says, how about Rudolph? Is he expensive? Get him as Bridge, or I heard Teddy Bridgewater's unretiring, or Daniel Jones, LOL. Well, I think Rudolph's a little busy right now with his nose so bright because he has to guide his sleigh. Yes, he's got his guide the sleigh, so I don't think we're getting him anytime soon. Connor says, what are you in there, Drew? That's a different look. Again, I'm at the lake house. People got so used to, I do go out of my home occasionally. I do go on vacation. I go out of my home. I go places.
Drew, how dare you?
And then Deb said, they were keeping Rob up. See, Brian says, today pissed me off. I appreciate seeing the game. Appreciate it, man. Like I said, I can't get over how many Giants fans were at this game. Seriously. It was impressive. I can only imagine how many Giants fans would have showed up if the Giants were actually, winning. Connor says, Roberto, you are very sleepy and hungry. Everybody's concerned about you. Rocky Fresh says, Shedeur Sanders, baby. Like I said, listen, I think if they had the number 1 pick, I think that's who the Giants would get, honestly. If that's the right pick, I don't know. Again, I want to be there in the interview process. I think Ward is the somewhat safer pick because of the personality. I just worry about Sanders in New York. But listen, if there's one thing Shedeur Sanders is damn good at, it's hitting receivers in stride. Yeah. This team is set up for receivers.
We missed that.
Hook routes and nines. It's slants. It's zip routes. It's all kinds of stuff that you want to catch it while you're in motion. You post routes. And that's that kind of stuff where a guy like Sanders would excel in it. But who knows what kind of offense we're going to have next year, guys? Because either going to have a new AC, a new OC, that's for sure. I guess new AC too, new assistant head coach. But we'll probably have a new head coach too if things keep going with. No, Connor says I don't know who we should get. I like to trade for picks and offensive linemen to get out pick because our whole team sucks except for a few. Here's the problem, and I see a lot of this talk. Let's say hypothetically we trade out of this pick. And we build up this team. We're a decent team. We go get a bridge quarterback. I'm not going to name exactly who specifically, but just a bridge quarterback. So we'll get a guy who's a fringe NFL starter, basically. Okay? You go get him. You improve this team. Now this team has 7-8 wins next year, hypothetically. How are you getting a quarterback? There's your problem you run into. And this is why when you need a quarterback and your team stinks, and you get the first pick, sometimes you reach for a quarterback, guys, because you need one that badly. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said to them, if you could right now trade Dexter Lawrence for C.J. Stroud, would you do it?
Woof.
But you got to think about it. You're talking about the guy who's the best at his position in the entire league. Versus a guy who's an above-average quarterback.
Would change the team big time.
It would change the team huge. But if you're talking about who's the better at their position, Dexter Lawrence is the better at his position.
100%. But it would change the Giants as a team.
Huge.
Especially, it would just be like, oh, we're a terrible team. We're a playoff team.
But what I'm saying is that's the whole point of this whole thing is that positional value is to a certain degree a load of crap. Like when you're drafting, you should take the best player available.
100%.
Asterisk. And there's your asterisk. Except if you need a quarterback. That's the asterisk right there. Except if you need a quarterback.
Wow. Look at last year.
Last year we
changed. We didn't take a quarterback. You're right. Would you have changed?
I'll tell you this. Neighbors is having an amazing year. But who would you rather have right now, Penix or Neighbors? Bo Nix or Neighbors? The way they're playing right now. And I'm not saying either one because part of my decision right now, trying to look at it from where we're at currently, is it depends on who we get in this draft coming up.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is if you can go back to NFL draft night, it's at least a conversation and internal battle in your head.
It is. And also at the same point, talk about Penix, he went, 9 overall? 8 overall? 8 overall? That guy should have went 28th or 38th in the draft pick.
And yet they took him 8th. When they signed a quarterback on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's worked out for them. Because they obviously needed him.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's where it's at. Pat 11 says, we should have tanked last year. We were 2-9 when we had a meaningless 3-game win streak. We started to embrace tank when we were 2-7. We could have had Jaden Daniels if we embraced the tank last year. Yeah, I don't disagree on that. But at the same point, are you going to try to tell your coach, your team, everybody else that you want to tank? This isn't a tank job. Let me be very clear on this. This is a accidental tank job. We're just tanking without even trying, guys. That's what's going on.
Pretty much.
So, Deb says, time to cut Neal. If only we could. What it's really time to do is this offseason, because it's too late now, move him to guard. Move him to
100%.
guard and see what you got. Because I'm telling you right now, he's going to be the next Eric Flowers, the way things are going. And I'm not saying he'll ever be a great guard, but Flowers had a couple of productive years as a guard. You know, he was with the Commanders, he was with the Dolphins for a little while. He was set 3-4 years without, after us as a starter in this league. You know, he kind of had a bad attitude. That's why he was probably out really quickly then. But once he started going downhill, but he had a career. And Neil's not going to have him the way he's playing.
Nope.
Connor said you could have switched Daniel for Daniels. The headlines we would have had. Yeah. Pal Evans says can't cut Neil. We have $11 million dead cap. Just bench him, make him guard maybe, but don't cut him. He's going to damage team even more. Listen, if we could cut him and he agreed to some kind of restructure so we can cut him, I'd do it on a heartbeat, but he's not going to.
No.
He's not going to lose millions of dollars just for the sake of finding a new place that he might not even find. That's where he's at. He's bad. He knows it. So he's going to do what he's got to do to make as much money as he can to protect him and his family from getting as much money as they possibly can. Same as you and I would in that position. I'm not giving up millions of dollars, that's for sure. No way in hell. I'm not giving up hundreds of dollars, let alone millions. Anthony says, hey guys, late to the show, so I have to add my weekly complaint. They are horrible. This is horrible. It's all horrible. Yeah, it's the classic complaint we all have, yes. He says, I'm only still here because I enjoyed the show. The Giants have lost I get it. And as always, man, we do appreciate you being here. Let's see here. Connor says, I don't care. We need a whole new fresh start. They picked Daniel, so it's their fault. Bye-bye. Give somebody else a chance. Yes, we've said on the show multiple times, the second you signed Daniel Jones to that contract, he was your quarterback. That was your way of saying, I'm okay with Daniel Jones. I'm good moving forward with Daniel Jones because you were moving forward with Daniel Jones. You had the choice. You could have just tagged him. Let Saquon go last year. Or offered Saquon some actual guaranteed money. And that's not me second-guessing the Saquon decision. What we're second-guessing is the Daniel Jones decision. Because you gave him a lot of money. And he sucks. Point blank. Paul Evans says, I'm okay with Brandon Brown elevated the GM. He came from the Eagles, and I hope a little bit of Howie Roseman, genius GMing, rubs off on him, but I mostly want a more proven GM. I think that I'm okay with Brandon Brown, but I wouldn't just hand him the job. And it's hard for me to say because I don't know what his opinions are on the stuff they were doing. You know what I mean? And I don't think he has the leadership and the pull to make the sweeping changes this organization needs. I still think we need a football czar, first off. And obviously, Belichick is off the line from that possibility. Maybe Tom Coughlin has to come in and do that.
Maybe.
Tom Coughlin knows people in the building, obviously, still. And don't tell me Tom Coughlin wouldn't love John Mara having to call him up and beg him to come back to fix this shit.
He will love that.
And I'm seriously, and maybe that's what gets him back into the Hall of Fame consideration, because that man should be in the Hall of Fame already. Point blank. Look, he goes to the Jaguars, gets to the AFC title game, goes to the Giants, wins Super Bowls, becomes an executive with the Jaguars, makes them relevant again, goes to be executive with the Giants. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's worse. And he's up there in age. So I don't even know what he wants to do at this point in his life. Let's be frank on that. But classy guy and a guy that I think would be good in that position there. Connor says, Drew, I'm laughing because you think we could win another game this year. I'm not saying we could. I'm saying if you take all the starters out, we could. Just to be clear, there's a difference. Our starters might beat the team of backups, even though our team is kind of backups at this point, between lack of good players at the position coupled with injuries. So, see, Paul, I was going to say Paul when I see it. Pat Levin says, I'm actually not that mad if we get Joe Douglas as GM. Yeah, he did a whiff on QB, but then so did 49ers. They traded 3 times, and Bears whiffed, and Patriots whiffed, and Jags whiffed to a point. Yeah, Joe Douglas is not who I want. And it's hard for us to say because you got to really be in some of these rooms to have opinions on people, but I don't think he's the guy. I don't. No. Pal Evans says, but all other draft picks he did kind of well. His free agency, he did kind of well. He got overpowered by Aaron and overpowered by Woody's teenager sons. That's the thing on that. That's why I'm saying you got to be in the room to know these things. You got to know like what was he actually for, what was he not for, because we don't know. We're not there. We just don't know. Connor says, actually, she said no pillow needed. She just got here. Gotta go, fellas. It's boom boom time. Oh my god. Let's see. Anthony says, meant to say the Giants have lost my interest. Yeah, they've lost everybody's interest. Let's be honest. Who I feel bad for is, people like us that talk about them nonstop. We got to talk about how crappy they are. Like I said, guys, we try not to keep on repeating the same things over and over again. So we just don't want to be those people. But it's hard to come up with new stuff to give you guys. I will say this: we did a show was 2 weeks ago or so on potential coaches to replace Dable. We still have to do potential GMs to replace Joe Shane. So that might be a topic this week, which would be something at least different to give you guys there. Like I said, we are trying to think of different things to give you than just saying the Giants suck.
Because we suck.
Yeah, we've done the quarterback talk, we've done the head coach talk, we still got to do the GM talk. So we'll probably have this week there. Pal Evans says, I would get 10, 15 years of already good to maybe great for 5, maybe 7 more of great from Dex. And again, it's the position. Because he's talking about the CJ Stroud, Dexter Lawrence thing I said. And that's the position. Yeah. That's what it boils down to. Because CJ Stroud will never be the best quarterback in the league, probably. Dexter Lawrence going to be up there. The best nose tackle in the league. It's just a difference in the value. Some of the race problems said, I haven't watched enough film to say, but someone who I respect said that Sanders is the Black Joe Burrow. Thoughts? Well, he's black. We can say that for sure. I don't know what they mean by the Black Joe Burrow. Like
I feel like get more footage.
No, but I'm saying I'd have to know what they were talking about comparison wise. You know what I mean? Like he is the Joe Burrow type because he does X and Y. I want to know that part before I would say that. Like I said, the thing that really impresses me about him is the way he leads receivers. I don't think he necessarily has the arm strength that a Cam Ward has. I think he has leadership skills. I see that. But I also think he has some potential maturity issues with some of the stupid things he says and does sometimes. So pros and cons. And, usually on the show, for those of y'all have been watching for the last couple of years, as Rob and I have done our draft shows and all, usually we're pretty one way or the other. Like, we're usually pretty much like, okay, here's what we think of this guy. I'm a little more difficult. It's a little more difficult for me to figure out what to think of Shedeur Sanders. Partially, it's the school he played. He didn't play the top-level schools. And partially, it's the personality issues and the concerns I have of what that would do in New York.
Yeah.
Let's see.
His personality is more concerning than anything to me.
Like, there was the one issue, like he wouldn't shake the one quarterback's game after hand after a game and stuff like that. It's been little things like that. And I listen, guys, I'm nitpicking. I'll tell you that point blank. But that's what we have to do this time of the year. We're comparing 2 quarterbacks, and we got the number 1 overall pick in the draft. That is nitpicking season.
Yeah, that's literally what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Hands down, like we're gonna talk about our best player available.
Yeah, like we're gonna try to figure out. We're trying to cut, it down to which one of these 2 is better.
Yeah,
and that's a difficult thing to figure out sometimes, guys. That really is. Solving the race problem says, realistically, where do you see this team in 3 to 5 years? East Rutherford. Definitely East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what it boils down to is there is two roads. We have an impasse this year, guys. We have an impasse where we go one direction and we keep Dable, we keep Shane, and we probably fall flat in our ass again next year. And then we got to figure out a brand new coach and a rebuild. We wasted the first year of a rookie quarterback. Or we go down another path and it's 50-50. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that we get a GM and a coach and all of a sudden everything's fixed and we're great. We could pick the wrong GM and coach again. That's just as possible.
Giants have been very good at that.
Yeah. So if you think about those ways, you have basically a 50-50 shot of keeping these guys. And then a 50-50 shot if you don't, that they are successful. So only about a 25% chance we pick a good quarterback and GM, guys. That's not good. That's not good ratios. But the risk is worth the reward. That's what it boils down to. Pat Evans says he's accurate, good decision timing, able to throw good even when pressured. Still has good seasons even with a bad offensive line. If we draft him, hopefully all translates and then some. And yeah, that's the one thing I should have mentioned with Shedeur Sanders, the bad offensive line thing. Because that offensive line in Colorado has done him no favors whatsoever. No. But his receivers have. If you watch the game tapes with him, like I said, he's very good at hitting people in stride, but they've been very good in Colorado about doing things with the ball once they get it, which helps make him look a lot better too. So, and it's not as if you penalize Sanders for having good receivers. It's just something we have to look at. We looked at that out there, with Penix last year, not to bring him up again, but he had 3 receivers that were all drafted within, I think, the first 3 rounds of this draft last year. Yeah. And that was one of the knocks on him. And we kept on saying, well, here's the consistent Penix. So I can't turn around this year and knock Sanders for having receivers that are being successful, because it's not a fair thing if I didn't knock Penix for it. But you have to look at it as a possibility that's at least helping him. Yeah. Pat Levin says at solving the race problem, depending on who is GM and coach, we could be in playoff hunt or more or the same, and finding a new GM coach again. Cycle continues. It all depends. Yeah, that's it. Solving the race problem is, as content creators, is there anything that would make you to tap out and stop covering the team? The season would push the limits if I was in your position. Ooh.
The season does push the limits. Let's be honest. But I still find fun to cover the team.
Yeah.
No matter what. At the end of the day, it's so fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing for us is when we first started this, we just did audio and that's it. We went into after the first season, which was the one good season we covered just 2 years ago. We went ahead and watched a really good season and didn't do it as with all y'all that are watching now who weren't doing video back then. We did just audio. We went into it after the season with video as well. And, now you go into it and you watch, even with bad times, we get to see some of y'all that are here every single week, every single episode. And I like the fact that doing the live videos has really built us up into a community. And I like the fact that we have a chance here to kind of together complain. Because let's be honest here, it's also y'all as well. Like we're doing this because we chose to. Y'all are watching the Giants still and rooting for the Giants still, at least for their future. Maybe not for their immediate, but for their long-term future, because you're Giants fans and you're choosing to do that. So we're just all choosing together. That's what this is. Whether for content creation, whether for watching the Giants, we're all choosing to do this together. And we're going to do it as a community. We're going to make through it together. And hopefully draft time comes. Knock on wood, the Giants don't win a game the rest of the season. We get the first overall pick. We pick to get whoever we want to be our quarterback. Hopefully a new head coach. Hopefully a new GM. And this is a brand new era. Brand new era. I was talking to somebody today, and I said on the show before, I want the Giants to get a new coach, new GM, obviously a new quarterback in the draft, and then I want us to go ahead and also change the uniforms. I want to go back to the old Giants helmets. I want to refresh the jerseys and all just a little bit there. Just because what it does, it sends a signal. This is a new era of Giants football.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, you need to make sweeping changes at this point. And that's your way of doing it. You know? As Solving the Race Problem says, true, Pal 11. And then Pal 11 says, that's when you know they are passionate about the team, because even in bad times, we stick and support our teams. Hells yeah. And maybe in weird ways, because it seems weird to like root for us to lose right now. It really does. And I don't think any time in my life I've ever rooted for the Giants to lose. Like, I've understood the sentiment of like, hey, if we lose, this may help us in the long term. Like, I don't begrudge people who are pro tanking. But guys, when you're 2-12 or 2-13, sorry now. Yeah, you may as well tank. You get nothing to lose, except more games.
Yeah.
Pal 11 says, Giants' last home game of the season next week. Let's all buy a plane and tell Mr. Merritt to Spartan up. Yeah, and that's one of the things I yelled at actually from the field. I'm like, John Mara, I'm your goddamn playing this game. Fire Dable. Oh my God. You would have swore I was drunk the way I was yelling down to this. And I really wasn't. Like, I was drunk when I got into the stadium, as most fans are. I drink like crazy beforehand. So, I had enough where I was definitely feeling it before the game started, but I was sober once the game was getting going. Though I did have to like circle the whole stadium and try to find my seat, but I was also like half paying attention, half handing out cards to market us there. So, nice. But yeah, it was fun times there. Solving the Race Problem says, tell Rob to stop flying these planes. He's tired of most training.
I'm exhausted from flying all these planes. My God. People don't realize how exhausting it is to fly planes around a stadium. Let me tell you. It's exhausting.
Pat 11 says, I think you have to in order to stomach watching the Giants for a whole game. Listen, I did watch the whole game because I was actually there to the last kneel down even. That's how long I was there for. And you could see that stadium was clearing out like halfway through the fourth quarter. Halfway through the fourth quarter was clearing out. And honestly, they're probably the smart ones, but I wanted to get some more business cards out to people and everything. As my wife says, someone buy Rob a coffee.
Please.
All righty, guys. Well, that calls it a night for us here. We're going to be back again for you guys tomorrow night. Hopefully, I will be on with you guys, barring any kind of crazy traffic scenarios, because I am driving home tomorrow. So there's a slight chance you guys get a case of the Robs tomorrow.
Ooh.
Make it sound like a disease. A case of the Robs. It's like the herpes. But yeah, we'll be back again on our Monday show there. Now, next week in general, guys, we didn't announce this part of it yet, so we probably should, Rob. Wednesday obviously is Christmas, so we're not going to do a show on Christmas. That's not going to happen. So we'll do our usual Thursday show. We're going to go ahead and move our Wednesday show to Friday. So that way, you guys, like I said, we've always given you at least three episodes every single week since we've started doing this. And we will always continue to do that, even if it's a pre-record, whatever. We've done different things to get around it when we have issues. But so we will skip Wednesday. We'll have the show on Friday, so that we get Monday, Thursday, Friday instead of Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, as we usually do. So that way we get to spend time with our families there on Christmas. So, and then next week we'll have New Year's, but New Year's Day I have no problem recording on. I don't think that'll be an issue. No one's really doing anything on New Year's night. We'll be fine. So, like I said, we'll be there doing that. So we'll still got one more game pre-Christmas with you guys. So we'll see you guys then. Let's see, we did get a couple more comments here real quick here. Pal 11 says, Rob, my friend, you should have slept while watching the Giants game. You wouldn't have missed much. Some of the race problem. This team is a snooze to watch. We appreciate you guys coming out and being consistent. Happy holidays, guys. You as well, my friend. Appreciate it.
Happy holidays.
Pal 11 says, no problem, guys. Everybody enjoy your Christmas. Happy holidays to you and your families, and to everyone is here as well here in the chat. Yes, you as well, and your family as well. And again, guys, we'll be back Monday. So we do have one more pre-Christmas show here. But again, that'll be tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. Oh, yes. I almost fell off the chair with that one. Sheesh. And of course, as always, we are available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. That's, of course, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe on all of those as well. And of course, you can always support the shows you mentioned earlier at the buymeacoffee.com, as well as also super chats here on YouTube. And of course, also the stars on Facebook as well, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching already there, because like I said, I know, guys, it's a rough season. I know you guys are struggling with this. I know it. So we definitely appreciate you guys being here. So as always, Giant fans, even though we're tanking, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging